Welcome back, my Jedi friends. And in today's episode, I explore what is the difference between a genius and a lunatic. And I've given myself some Einstein hair. Look at that. Look at that hair transplant, folks. That's genius. Some would say that's genius. Some would say that's lunatic. It's lunatic, Adam. You haven't really got hair. So that will start things off. We are going to channel the spirit of Einstein. So let's just start off by saying that Einstein's teachers thought he was emotionally stunted and he was an idiot. He was thinking differently to everyone. He wasn't learning the way that he was supposed to learn. He wasn't doing what he was told. And here is somebody that was labeled a lunatic that, as it proved, was a genius, folks. So let's just clarify something. Some of you will know that I grew up in a lunatic asylum, psychiatric hospital, and some lunatics, and I use that word in its broadest context, folks, were psychotic and going around and looking to do harm to themselves and others. Now, that sort of lunacy we're not going to discuss in this video. So let's separate what lunatic means. These are, and it's somebody who is in a different planet. They don't communicate well. They're not really, you're not really getting them, but they're not looking to do harm to themselves, to others, the others, or the planet. So that's the remit that I am going to use when I use the word lunatic. Because a lot of my friends have accused me of being a lunatic, and I think they might be right in certain contexts. Because only a lunatic would go into business for themselves. Only a lunatic would go against the herd. Only a lunatic would go off traveling when everyone else was building themselves a life. Only a lunatic would do things that go against society. Only a lunatic would speak up against injustice because of the potential disruption. So we're looking at this brand of lunacy, the startup business entrepreneur, that kind of thing. So, what is the difference between a lunatic and a genius? And I am going to tell you very succinctly in this video that there is no difference. That today's lunatic is tomorrow's genius, just like it was with Einstein. You may have to, if you are that genius, you may have to go through most of your life being considered a lunatic. And if you weren't a genius, they wouldn't think you're a lunatic because what a lunatic categorizes as to other people is someone that doesn't think the way they do. Now, let's face it, folks, if you are that genius, if you are that lunatic, do you really want to be the person that thinks like the rest of society? Do you want to fit in? Do you want to be one of them, folks? Do you want to be a sheeple, one of the sheeple, blending in and doing what you're told? Or are you the disruptor? Are you the one that gets a set of rules and say, hang on, no, that's a little bit off, folks. That's a little bit off. Are you the person that speaks up when you see shit that you know isn't right? You know isn't right. And let's just bring that to life more recently. So, anybody during the lockdown that wasn't quite buying into the narrative of this deadly killer virus that was going to kill us all, unless, and we were going to kill others if we didn't get a vaccine. I have to laugh at this, folks. I have to laugh at this. Obviously, some of you will consider this isn't a laughing topic, Adam. It isn't. But I've never felt so isolated in my life as I did for speaking my truth during that. So that was it a genius move? Was it a lunatic move? Well, that's not for me to judge it, folks. But the fact is that anyone that speaks up, anyone that questions anything is going to be a disruptor. And people aren't going to want to be associated with you for fear that you're going to get them in trouble. So it's very isolating as a startup entrepreneur. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go down such an unsafe route, such an unsecure route? Safety. You've got bills to pay. You've got things to do. You've got responsibilities. Why would you do that lunatic thing? And a lot of people have to go through this lunatic zone. And it really is the case, folks, that it's not a line, it's not a fine line. It is the same category. If you actually look at the definition of what people consider lunacy and what they consider genius, that's why today's lunatic is tomorrow's genius. Was Einstein a genius before he discovered all of the stuff that he did, the incredible stuff? No, he was a lunatic. Was Neil Armstrong a lunatic? Although some will say it did really happen, folks. Happened in the studio. It could have done. There hasn't been lots of lunar landings, has there, folks? But was he a lunatic or a genius for being the first person in a rocket? Was that lunatic? Well, it would have been lunatic had anything gone wrong, but in the light of the publicity of the lunar landing, and again, I'm not here to speculate whether that did or didn't happen, but that's the sort of thing we're talking about. Say, Scott, of the Antarctic, who would go in those freezing temperatures to stick a flag in an icy bloody place? Well, who the hell is that lunatic, or is he a genius? Now, that's what we're talking about here, folks, because perspectives are different. And one person's lunatic is another person's genius. One person's idiot is another person's, I wish I had the balls to do that. One person's lunatic, one person's, why are you doing that? Why would you possibly say that? With potential ramifications is another person's, wow, I wish I had it in me to say that. Of saying what we want to say, but we're too scared to say it. Too scared to say it, folks. Blend in. We fit in. We do what we're told. Do what we're told. That's what it's all about. And this is what we're talking about, folks. And with the planetary vibrational rising now, people are being encouraged to wake up. Encouraged to wake up. And part of that is, firstly, feeling very isolated. Because the first thing when you wake up and everyone else is a zombie or hypnotized around you, it's a very isolating experience, and you will get called a lunatic. You will be classified as a lunatic by a large majority of people in your network, people in your circles, folks. But does that mean that you are a lunatic, or are you a genius for having the balls or the awareness or the whatever it is, the get up and go to wake up and to risk everything by pointing out a few things that no one else is going to. And this is what we're talking about here, folks. Lunatics are usually creatives. They usually think differently. They have thinking on a different plane. A lot of them can be autistic. A lot of autism can manifest as lunatic genius, that kind of thing. But their ability to communicate it with others is sometimes compromised, or to relate to others. So quite often geniuses don't have the people skills to carry it off, and most people just look at them and think, wow, that was abrupt, that was rude. There's a lot of things that can go wrong on this, folks, but the fact being that lunatics and geniuses in this instance are exactly the same thing, just viewed from separate angles. So what I want to wake you up to is the fact, if people are calling you a lunatic, I'm going to argue that this is a good thing, and you found this video as part of your awakening process to wake up and get to know that you are not as lunatic as everybody thinks. They just haven't yet acknowledged your genius. Whatever that may be, however that may manifest, whatever piece of the jigsaw you have to plug in to whatever is going on in the world, to raise the vibration, to make the place a better place, to wake people up. We all have a piece of that jigsaw, folks. And if you're feeling the call, then you will know it. You will know it. And you will also know, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, that this is the place for you lunatics to congregate, so that we can work out who needs to do what and meet some fellow lunatics and learn about energy, how to show up, how to energize yourself, how to work with energy to feel better on a daily basis. And if you want a piece of that, my Jedi lunatic friends, then do like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you want another piece of the lunatic jigsaw, you will find it just there, my Jedi friends. So you will own your lunacy, you will own your genius, and you will wake up to the fact that you found this video for a reason.